Who do you think decides whether you live or die? Most of you would say it's fate. But in our world, a pandemic-ridden world, it's Big Pharma, a bunch of companies that make vaccines and medicines. They decide who lives and who dies. And that makes them dangerously powerful. Let me explain how. Omicron cases are rising. There is talk of vaccines and boosters. By all indications, booster shots will be a regular feature in our lives. And we know who stands to gain. Big Pharma. They're rolling in money. They're blackmailing governments. They're fueling inequity. They're setting arbitrary terms and conditions, jacking up prices, pushing secret deals. And yet we have little choice but to take their vaccines. That is the kind of power they wield. Which is why I say, in today's world, Big Pharma decides whether you live or die. How did they acquire this power? How dangerous can they be? And why is no government stopping them? We'll start with the story of Martin Shkreli. This man, he used to be America's most hated man. What did he do? Sold this drug, Daraprim, an important weapon in the fight against malaria. Also another serious infection caused by HIV. There was a time when this drug, Daraprim, cost $13.50. Then Martin Shkreli entered the scene. He bought the manufacturing license for Daraprim and jacked up prices by 5,000%. You heard that right, 5,000. So the medicine that sold for $13.50 started selling for $750. People were furious. Patients, doctors, lawmakers, everyone protested. That Shkreli could not care less.
I know you're smiling, but I'm very serious, sir. And I truly believe, are you listening?
Yes.
Eventually, the law prevailed. Shkreli was convicted for securities fraud, sent to 7 years in jail. Recently, he paid $40 million to settle allegations of price gouging. And this is a man who did not even make drugs for a living. He managed a hedge fund. When asked about the price gouging, he said, "I would have raised the prices higher and made more profits." Now, you have to understand where he comes from. As a hedge fund manager, his primary duty was to make money for his investors. Shkreli was driven by profit. He represented a system that puts profits above lives, a system that wants to make money off illnesses, and a system that influences everyone. I'm talking about Big Pharma. They have unrivaled power, the power to push dangerous drugs into the market, the power to influence politicians and regulators, and the power to maximize profits at the cost of patients. How does Big Pharma do this? With tools like misinformation. In the 2020 election, the world's biggest pharma companies wrote checks to 356 lawmakers. As much as $11 million was given out as campaign contribution. More money is being spent on lobbying. In the last 23 years, the pharma and health products industry has spent close to $5 billion on lobbying. And sustained lobbying has its rewards. By law, Big Pharma can set prices of their drugs. There is no scope for negotiation. Big Pharma can charge whatever rates it likes. Keep the competition out, set the prices of your product, influence policymakers, and hire an army of lawyers and lobbyists to fight back any challenge. There is only one business that closely resembles this description: drug cartels. Drug companies and drug suppliers are operating by a dictionary definition of a cartel. There is no other way to describe them. Big Pharma is the new drug mafia. Omicron is wreaking havoc across the world, spreading faster than any variant we've seen so far. Omicron was detected 26 days back, and in less than a month, it has reached more than 100 countries, infected more than 100,000 people. The world is bracing for another wave. The WHO is talking about ending the pandemic in 2022, but that is not going to happen, and I'll tell you why. Big Pharma. They won't let it happen. The Wuhan virus is their golden goose. Every wave of the pandemic is a wave of profits for them. Vaccine makers are rolling in money. Two companies specifically, Pfizer and Moderna, their profits have shot up again. Let me show you what US lawmaker Bernie Sanders has said, and I'm quoting. "This is obscene," he says. "Last week, 8 investors in Pfizer and Moderna became $10 billion richer as news about the Omicron variant spread. It's time for these pharmaceutical companies to share their vaccines with the world and start controlling their greed. Enough is enough." In 2020, Moderna was a loss-making company. This year, it has made more than $7 billion in profits. That's massive. But it pales compared to Pfizer. Pfizer earned slightly more than $8 billion in profits in 2020. In 2021, so far, the company has already raked in close to $19 billion in profits. $19 billion. Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna, 3 vaccine makers, they delivered 2 shots for the Wuhan virus. Do you know how much profit they made from these shots? $1,000 every second. You heard that right, $1,000 every second. Pfizer, BioNTech and Moderna made $1,000 every second from Wuhan virus vaccines. When these shots came out, they were sold like lifelines. These vaccines were supposed to pull the world out from the pandemic. Instead, they ended up building monopolies. While these 3 companies, Pfizer, BioNTech and Moderna, are making money hand over fist. Look at the numbers. The vaccine trio have earned billions already. This year, they have made $34 billion from their shots. $34 billion. This is profit before taxes, which means these companies earn more than $93 million every day. $65,000 a minute. $1,000 every second. The profit margins on these shots are unbelievable. Let's take a look at Pfizer first. It made its vaccine in collaboration with BioNTech. Both companies split the profits 50-50. They will make $36 billion in revenue from the Wuhan virus vaccine this year. Reports say their profit margin is 77%. I'm going to repeat that. A profit margin of 77%. Moderna is not far behind. It will make more than $11 billion in revenue. What's the profit margin? A whopping 70%. Harlot.